Welcome to Around the Bend with Soki. Soki is our Alliance 385 FL, and we're Mike and Ramona. And these are our travels as we're coming back from the West Coast. In this episode, we're traveling from Pendleton, Oregon, up over the mountains to Salt Lake City. We're doing Route 84 and eventually connecting up with Route 15 south, which drops all the way through down into California. There's a lot of mountain passes as we work our way down to Salt Lake City, but I included this one because it's aptly named Rattlesnake Pass. And yes, all the speed limits through here are 80 miles an hour. We were not going anywhere near that. One of the most amazing things is the Wasatch Mountain Range. It dominates the whole terrain from Park City, as soon as you see it, all the way down through Salt Lake City and beyond. Comes in from Park City, it drops out of Montana, a fairly major highway. It comes in right above Salt Lake, probably about an hour or so north of Salt Lake. I'd always associated Salt Lake City with the Great Salt Lake. I had no idea that it extended as far north and as far west as we were about to find out. Salt Lake is a beautiful city. It's dominated by the mountains right behind it. But as you get closer, the traffic gets a bit crazy. It turns into 3, 4, 5 lanes, exits, and as you'll see, it just gets a little bit interesting. we were headed for Mountain Shadows RV Park. And it's nestled right in the city, right up alongside the mountains. Good thing about the highways here is the exits are labeled with a series of numbers for the addresses. So the 12,000s, which is the block we were headed for, is listed as the 12,000s on the exit. Yes, if you hit this at the wrong time of day, this can be stop and go driving. Found our exit. When you go at all the stoplights and you look ahead of you, the view is just stunning. The mountains behind the campground were just spectacular. In the mornings, you had fog and sun, just pretty amazing. So the next day we decided to head out for the Bonneville Salt Flats. After all, we were at the Great Salt Lake. How far away could it be? It's a very mineral-rich area. We saw signs for a copper mine, which you'll see on the left-hand side. And right behind that was a smelting plant. It was huge. And of course, all the connections and everything from the railroad that were necessary to make it go. And for reference, the Great Salt Lake is on the right. It's to the north. Over these hills, eventually we come to an intersection where we can actually see some of it. left, you see some more of the smelting operations. Great Salt Lake is on the right. You're kind of looking down over it, but it doesn't show very well. As we traveled along, we got to see Cargill and another company's great, huge salt plants on the edge of the Great Salt Lake. But as we traveled out Interstate 80, there was a lot of barren desert. We expected to see a Great Salt Lake, and instead there were areas of just true barren rocky stretches. This rest area is a good example, and there were signs not to wander off the sidewalks because of scorpions and poisonous snakes. We didn't need to say. So this is what a lot of the road looked like as we went out there. Other than those barren desert sections, we could see different areas where there was salt and water, and lake, and so on. So we learned a lot about the salt flats. They were actually formed when an ancient Lake Bonneville dried up. The lake was huge, filling much of the Great Basin. It eventually shrank below its outlets, and so its water became salty. As water continued to evaporate, salt deposits were left in many areas. The Great Salt Lake is a remnant of Lake Bonneville. Although we never visited the salt flats, the area is named in honor of Captain Bonneville, whose expeditions in the 1830s proved the area was part of an ancient basin. Ancient Lake Bonneville, during the last ice age, about 15,000 years ago, was the size of Lake Michigan. It covered 1/3 of present-day Utah and parts of neighboring states. You can see traces of the shoreline representing different levels of the receding lake etched into the mountains surrounding the salt flats. The Bonneville Salt Flats and the Great Salt Lake are remnants of the ancient Lake Bonneville. Wind and water combine to create the flat surface of salt. Each winter, a shallow layer of standing water floods the surface of the salt flats. During spring and summer, the water slowly evaporates, while winds smooth the surface into a vast, nearly perfect flat plain. The salt surface contains potassium, magnesium, lithium, and sodium chloride, or table salt. Several roads probe the salt surface from many directions. They often extend into very remote locations where conditions are harsh and there's no services. The environment is fragile and needs to be treated with respect. When you drive, stay on established roads. If you camp or hike, do so in ways that are environmentally friendly. The federal government owns almost all the land in this area, and large portions are used for military, for storage depots, test areas, and bombing ranges. Perhaps the most impressive spot to view the salt flats is along I-80, about 10 miles east of Westover. A rest stop has been established there, offering water and restrooms. The area is surrounded by perfectly flat land that looks like it is covered with snow. To the north and west, low mountains break the view. To the east and south, it looks like flat land that extends virtually forever. At the rest stop, you can walk out onto the salty soil. The Bonneville Salt Flats cover a large area stretching over 30,000 acres. It's located along I-80 near the Utah-Nevada border, a lot farther west than we thought, and it has a very unique environment. It can be seen easily from I-80. Here we got a chance to walk it. Well, that's bizarre looking, isn't it? This is bizarre looking. 4,218 feet above sea level. See if it's not windy, then this is like glass and it looks like you're standing on, literally walking on top of water. Look at this salt. Not very deep, is it? The deepest spot is right here. Yeah. Once you get out there, you're not in the water anymore. I don't know. Stick your finger in it. Oh, it's bath water. It's super warm. Yeah. Yeah, it's not cold at all.
Sharp on my feet.
Could be. Salt actually dries out if you get far enough out. And this is what it looks like when you look straight into it. Just crystals. Also cracked into huge blocks. Yep. All the way. Yeah, that's what I said. It's like bath water. Yeah, that was one of the things we were surprised at as we traveled all the way from pretty much Great Salt Lake, almost to Nevada. Pure chunks of salt down underneath it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the picture right here. I said, this is the picture right here in front of us. You get the reflection of the mountains. Yeah. Looks that way.
Water is supposed to be good for your feet.
Yep.
You ever think you'd be doing this?
No. No, never did. We'll get it out when we get back out here. Yeah. The closer you get to the edge here, the more it reflects.
Yeah, that's why I thought I couldn't put my... I'm going to tell Joe that next time he eats molten salt on his food, his sister walked on top of it. So he brought my feet in his salt. Oh, cool.
Actually, stay where you're at. The more I get back, it looks like you're just standing on the water. You can't see down through it. So look, if you look at me and look in the background there, I mean, it just goes like on forever. Yeah. You can see the water draining across it now. Notice the splashing has stopped. We're on dry salt. What's really amazing is that they race at 200-300 miles an hour on this cracked, crusty surface. Gets more and more crusty as it goes. A little bit of history of the Salt Basin. Humans have lived in the Great Basin for thousands of years. Excavations at nearby Danger Cave have proven occupation of the area as early as 10,300 years ago. While Native Americans adapted the desert environment, more recent arrivals found the area less hospitable. By 1824, Jim Bridger and other mountain men explored the Great Salt Lake Basin. The first recorded crossing was made in 1845.
The good part about stopping here is we could actually do this. When you did the eastbound, all you're doing is going up on that platform to look out. It's waves that have kind of like choked.
Yeah, but it looks like icebergs.
Yeah. So that over there is where the actual salt flats is.
Earlier scouts warned immigrants not to attempt the untried route across the Salt Lake. However, the Donner Reed Party, seeking a shortcut in 1946, attempted to cross. They failed to take enough water, lost a critical number of oxen, and their wagons were abandoned. The time lost delayed their arrival to the Sierra Nevada mountains, and the rest is history. Bonneville Salt Flats average temperature is 52.4 degrees. The low is 32.2. Average precipitation is 0.39 inches of rain, and maybe a half an inch of snowfall is average. When traveling to Salt Flats, be prepared for desert conditions. Temperatures can exceed 100 degrees in the summer and drop well below zero in the winter. There are no facilities and services on the Salt Flats.
479. Road closed ahead. So apparently you can't go around.
Maybe it's underwater or something. Maybe it's underwater or something. Or maybe Lee Pass is closed. I don't know.
Somebody's been driving on it.
Yeah.
You can see there's somebody up in there. Some campers up in there.
The Bonneville Salt Flats is administered by the Bureau of Land Management. Overnight stays are prohibited on the Salt Flats. Camping is encouraged on surrounding public lands. Private campgrounds and hookups are available in nearby Wendover, 10 miles west of the Bonneville Salt Flats. Other accommodation services are also available in Wendover. Bonneville Speedway, also known as the Bonneville Salt Flats Racetrack, is an area of the Bonneville Salt Flats northeast of Wendover. It is marked out for motorsports. It is particularly noted as the venue for numerous land speed records. As we drive out here, you'll see that it is quite moist and soupy. Staying on existing roads or designated areas for vehicles is recommended. Despite the appearance of a hard surface, much of the area is thin salt crust over soft mud. It easily breaks under the weight of a vehicle. Stay off the salt surface when it's covered by water.
Yeah.
When wet, the salt surface is soft, easily damaged.
It's like
How are you? Can I swing around and come back out?
Yeah, so yeah.
Okay. It's
Thank you.
hard enough on
Thank you.
this side?
Yeah, either way, but they just don't want everybody on this side of the barricade.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you got quite a drop off there.
And you're looking at the Bonneville Salt Flats Raceway.
Boy, that doesn't look hard enough to race on.
No, that's what I said. I wouldn't want to go. Somebody's got their camper out here. Well,
Get back in his car, did he? Is that really hard enough to race on?
Yeah, when it's very dry, like in the summer, that's
Oh,
when
okay.
they usually hold the races. But they actually have the actual speed track over there.
Is there?
Yeah.
It doesn't look it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it just because of all the water.
Yeah. Yeah, you must have picked up quite a bit of rain the last couple of days or so?
Yeah, we had a big storm that lasted for like 3 days.
Wow. Okay.
But it rained a lot. I'm guessing over 3 inches.
Wow.
And with the hard ground and the salt, it'll just stay on top most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Thanks.
You have a good day.
Yes, you too.
So a little more history. The Salt Flats were first used for motorsports in 1912, but did not become truly popular until the 30s, when Ab Jenkins and Sir Malcolm Campbell competed to set land speed records. A reduction of available racing surface and salt thickness has led to the cancellation of events at Bonneville, such as Speed Weeks in 2014 and 2015. Available racing surface is much reduced, with just 2.5 miles available instead of the 9-mile courses traditionally used for Speed Weeks. Historically, the Speedway was marked out by the Utah Department of Transportation at the start of each summer. Originally, 2 tracks were prepared, a 10-mile long straightaway for speed trials and an oval or circular track for distance runs, which was typically between 10 and 12 miles, depending on the conditions of salt surface. Since at least the 1990s, track preparations have been the responsibility of the event organizers. We hope you enjoyed our trip to the Bonneville Salt Flats. It was truly an experience that we will never forget. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We will see you around the bend.